This is the Hambleden Pairs Challenge Cup, women's pairs, and we've got the might of USA's best, Jess Morrison and Musnicki, against a couple of more local rowers. That's Sophia Heath and Annie Campbell-Orde, British pair. Just keeping an eye on the Americans on the Berkshire station. Great experience from them as well, from Morrison and Musnicki. They really do know their way through a race. They've had so much success over the years.
Yeah, I mean, they're multiple Olympic medalists between them.
Gold medalists.
Gold medalists indeed. And they haven't been tested. They've raced twice this regatta, both easily. The Leander crew on the left right-hand side of your screen here have raced 3 times, but each time it's been 5 lengths, 2.5, 3.5. So we don't know yet, but the pedigree in the American pair is pretty astounding.
Campbell-Orde and Heath. I have to warn you, I will refer to you as California and Leander.
Fair enough.
I see you are both straight and ready. I will start you like this. Attention, go. Get ready, please.
So Hambleden, Morrison and Musnicki.
Attention.
USA
Go.
On the Berkshire station. On the Buck station, Heath and Campbell-Orde. And this is really worth keeping an eye on, because some of the pairs boats have had particular steering problems at Temple Island during this week. It's been really challenging conditions, and I think maybe the pairs boats, and obviously the smaller boats, the singles as well, have felt the brunt of those difficult conditions. So it's going to be very interesting to see how clean these women's pairs can get away from Temple Island. At the moment they're in the shot, Campbell-Orde and Heath looking very composed, always looking like they're enjoying it.
Yeah, it's still early on, and here you can see we're coming to the end of the island. This is where the gap is between the island and the first boom, and sometimes a stream comes off there and affects them. But today this crew has dealt with that supremely well, and the American crew of Musnicki and Morrison just moving out to about the best part of a length so far.
So, the University of California, the American crew, Morrison, gold in Tokyo in the Australian 4, and then we've got Musnicki in the USA, double Olympic champion in the women's 8.
And look at the precision, look at how direct and dynamic the blade entry is there. It's deliberate and really forceful. And here they go, California Rowing Club. This is one of the new training centers in the US program, because US women were always centralized in Princeton until after the last Olympic Games. Now the athletes can pick where they want to train, and California Rowing Club is one of the centers where there are men and women rowing there. And here, these 2 Olympic champions deciding to go to the warmer weather to train.
Who can blame them? And here are Leander's leads their boat. Annie Campbell-Orde, Nottingham Rowing Club. Very youthful netballer in her time, Loughborough University.
So you can see the difference there a little bit. The American crew, we saw that blade work, how you can see there how quick and deliberate and forceful it is. In the Leander crew, it's a more subtle and gentle entry. It looks to me like just the physicality of the US crew is what's giving them the advantage.
It's interesting watching Morrison and Musnicki, who have had very successful careers quite far apart in different boats, in different nations at different times, and they've come together relatively late on in their careers, and I wonder how long it would have taken them to bed it down, because they are absolutely nailing it technically, aren't they?
Yeah, I think the fundamental thing is athletes of this experience, they know what it takes to move a boat, and you can see the superior boat speed there on the left-hand side. They know how to move a boat, they know what it takes. It would just take a bit of time for them to make the compromises you need to do in a pair. You can't just row the way you think you're supposed to row. Generally, the person in the stroke seat, so that's furthest away from us here, will row a pattern they find natural, and the person behind them would have to initially compromise their rowing to match it so that it's level and it goes straight. And then once it's a good platform, then they can discuss what they think is the best pattern to row to get the most boat speed.
It's just a very different career trajectory to Heather Stanning and Helen Glover, who dominated this event for so long, who teamed up right at the beginning of their careers and swept all before them, didn't they, in the
yeah, and the way they came into it was interesting, because they were the spares for the 8, and that's why they were put together with Robin Williams, and then they did such a good job, they jumped over the 8 and became the dominant crew.
At the start of their career, whereas these two have had so much success already, and are now battling against the Leander Club. You can see there, Sophia Heath, the stroke seat. From Hartbury College and Gloucester, big moment for Gloucester Rowing Club, Oxford Brookes University. Marketing and business is what Sapphire Heath is all about, a university course.
So in here we can see just the difference in caliber, to be honest. The American pair here, they're so metronomic with what they're doing and so solid. It's really impressive to watch this pair here in their old traditional singlets as opposed to the modern racing onesies.
Well, they've beaten Mitchell and Gleeson. I was watching this race yesterday from Rowing Australia in the semi-final easily. So we've probably not seen them really tested, have we, at this stage? Not really exposed. And we'll get a better idea at international regattas, perhaps. But yeah,
it's a bit of a shame we didn't get to see these two racing against the New Zealand pair.
Exactly.
Prendergast and Crowler, or Williams as she is now, having got married.
That might have been the match-up we would have been after.
Yeah, and they were unable to race. So they will not be disappointed not to have raced them, because obviously they've won Henley, you would say, unless something goes catastrophically wrong now. But they would have liked to have had the challenge of racing the Olympic champions for sure.
Last year, Leander beat Tideway by 3.5 lengths in 8 minutes and 46. That was last year. Redgrave and Deer, the winners of the Hambleden last year.
Also, you look at the American ladies in the crew. Morrison, the consultant for Ernst & Young, and Musnicki, she's a talent acquisition operations specialist.
So this is the Leander crew. They beat the USA's Van Westerien and IE quite comfortably in their semi-final, 3 3/4 lengths. But this is harder work. It's a step up in class. But they'll, as young athletes, be benefiting from the experience. They're both going to be involved out in Lucerne next week. In fact, they're in the senior squad double in the 4 as well in Lucerne next week. It's the first time they've been in the senior squad together, so it's a big week coming up for them internationally.
It is. And here now, the US crew, unlike the Windsor boys crew, they were just really piling it on all the way to the end. I think now they're going to start to enjoy this. And actually with their experience and their awareness of what's around them, and with this kind of margin, they're actually going to really be able to savour, because the conditions are good, they're under no pressure for steering. They can actually now hear the crowd and just enjoy the last minute or so of the racing down here, maybe a minute and a half, as they get the applause from the crowd and the stewards.
Yeah, as a coach, I suppose you encourage that, but only for athletes at the right stage of their career, at the right position in a race, trying to savour the magic of this moment. A lot of athletes will go through it almost oblivious, won't they?
And I think you can never talk about this as a coach with the athletes. No. When we get up and we're winning, it's fine, you can really enjoy the moment. No way, because if they're thinking about that, they're not going to execute anything else properly. It's just because they're so experienced, they've been in this position so many times. They know how to manage their concentration. And you look how well they're moving together.
So Megan Musnicki from the USA, double Olympic champion in the women's 8 in 2012 in London, 2016 in Rio, 5-time world champion. Part of that USA women's 8, that every time they got in the water, you just knew they were going to boss it. Really dominant force, that women's 8 for a 10-year spell.
They were indeed. It's their first time, their second time at Henley, but their first time in the boat other than the 8.
And Morrison, gold in Tokyo in the 4. And now there'll be a few strokes from home, enjoying the applause from stewards. We thought they were good. They've shown they're really good. Musnicki and Morrison in the Hambleden Pairs Challenge Cup. Last few strokes for them, comfortably beating Campbell-Orde and Heath. Fantastic performance from them. Breezing home, hopefully savouring the moment. A glance over the shoulder from Morrison, and over the line they go. It's a win for the experienced pair there of Musnicki and Morrison in the Hambleden Pairs Challenge Cup.
Even for experienced athletes like this, look at the joy of winning an event like this. Hands are up, waving at the crowd. They are loving this. And here comes the Leander pair, still racing to the line. The crowd appreciating their efforts.
Great experience for them, big week for them. Good luck to them in Lucerne, out in Switzerland for World Cup 3 next weekend. But this weekend at Henley, they've been beaten by Morrison and Musnicki.
So a great experience for the Leander girls to see what the A standard really is when it comes to the proper racing. But here, look, two American ladies, Olympic gold medalists, the joy of winning the event at Henley Royal Regatta. This is fantastic to see how much it means to these elite athletes.